Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing? Um, this is Boaz from Human B. Thank you for joining me for another webinar. Um, Before we start, if you guys don't mind, I want to just make sure that you can hear us and you can see us. So to the right, there's a chat area. If you guys just sort of quickly just say you can hear us, you can see, all right, that's what I wanted to see. Awesome. We can see and hear you. Thank you, Jay. So, awesome. The next thing that I'd like to know, I always like to know that. Where are everybody else? I mean, where are you guys from? Kind of like to see that there's people from different places. So if you want to take a second and sort of tell us again in the chat where you guys from, it's almost fun. It's always fun. All right. So today's webinar is focusing on fabrics. One of the main things that, or main issues, I would say, challenges that we see with fashion designers, especially the emerging ones, is finding fabrics and the right prices, finding the right quantities, finding prices that are going to be unique enough for their brand, but they can still work with. Um, where to find them, how to find them, what to look for, all of these things. So, for that reason, I'm doing this webinar today, and my guest today is Lillian Marino, who is part of Digifair. And I'll tell you in a second about Digifair, but first of all, Lillian, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you
Awesome.
for the invitation. Hello, everybody.
Cool. So actually, for those who don't know me, my name is Boaz David. I am the founder and owner of Human B. We are a development and production company providing services for fashion brands. As far as product, we execute product from sketch to final product. We also offer fashion business consulting. We have courses and programs and consulting programs that help emerging designers and fashion brand to start, build, and grow their fashion business. So anybody who doesn't know, the website is www.human, just the word human, the letter B.com. All right. My background. So, you guys will get a feel of who's talking to you if you don't know me yet. Background is fashion design, probably just like a lot of you guys. I've been in this industry for over 25 years in design, development, production. Had my line at some point. So I was in your shoes, struggled with a lot of challenges that you guys probably struggling or finding or trying to find solutions for. And Human B started 10 years ago with really the mission of helping designers at these stages to elevate their business, to really give them tools to make their life easier in their business so they can focus on the things that they do best, which is design and building business. Um, so my guest today is Lillian. And Lillian, you're part of Digifair.
Yes.
And do you mind just giving us a little background about Digifair and what is it? What are you guys doing? Just so people will know, where
Yes.
you're from.
Well, we are a platform for meetup between buyers and suppliers of fabrics. I'm hearing my own voice, so it's
Yes, but I
it's
think
hard
it's
to.
fine. Um,
Is everybody is anybody hearing echo?
there's a
Anything?
tiny bit an echo, but I think it's fine.
I can hear my own voice. Um,
But we can hear you well, and so
okay,
don't worry, you can keep on
let's
talking.
go on. I will try to focus. So Digifair is this platform that helps buyers and suppliers of fabrics to find what they are looking for. It's yeah,
You
it's
know what?
really
Can you take the volume in your computer down?
without the.
That's worth.
Is it
Yeah.
any better? Can you hear me?
There's still, I mean, we can hear you very well. There's just a little bit of echo.
Yes.
I don't know what you can do about it. Yeah, we can always hear you. That's not a problem.
No, I mean the echo.
There is a little bit echo.
Yeah, we are using the headset.
Yes.
Well,
But I think it's probably the room that you're in has some echo. Some of these microphones sometimes do that. Are you using the microphone?
I'm sorry, guys. I will try to start it over.
That's
so,
okay.
Digifair is a platform for buyers and sellers of fabrics. So the idea is you can demand your fabrics and you can really be as specific on what you're looking for. And this is very, very overwhelming process sometimes. It's very hard to hear myself.
So let me. I think that if you'll go into your computer, into your microphone, it's probably the volume of the microphone needs to go down. In the meantime,
Is it any better?
How about now? Can you talk?
Sorry, guys.
I think it's still there.
Is it there?
Yeah, it's still there.
For me, I can do this now because it's a bit lower.
Looks like it's a little better, but
is it anybody hearing the echo?
There's a tiny bit, but I think at this point I think we're good. I would just continue. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so
we can hear you, and I think it's fine.
Okay, fine. So Digifair is here to disrupt the industry. So the fabrics that sometimes we have really hard time to find them or understand what they are, where the suppliers are. So here is a new technology for you guys to try out and see how easy and fast this can be. It can really turn your process more economical. It saves a lot of time. So it's much better to have this in your hands for your daily routine. And it doesn't matter if you are already in the industry, if you are already some expert or professional in the industry, but you can also be a beginner. You can start in the industry and you don't know how to do it. The app is really easy to use. So for every level of professionals.
So it's just to simplify it, it's basically a website that connects sellers of fabrics with designers or anybody who's looking for fabric. Think about dating platform between fabrics, sellers, and designers.
Yes.
And they make things really easy. And we will show you a little bit more about it later, so you guys can get more familiar with it. Lillian, do you mind telling us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Yes, I am graduated in fashion design and post-graduation in photography. And I started right away to work within the industry as a fashion designer assistant, which I stayed for some years designing for some brands. And I did a lot of jeanswear collections, which gave me a chance to know about how denim works. One fabric and you can make the whole collection, which is amazing. And also I was a designer for a big retailer where I got to know about big volumes, that you have to bet on the designs properly because you need to understand the impacts in the end and the sales. So I got this whole idea of from tech packs to design development, the concept, and then production, the finishings, and all the complete cycle of the production.
That's awesome.
And until the end, the marketing, fashion shootings for campaigns and catalogs.
So, in other words, you are familiar with all the challenges that the designers going through, all the steps that they need to do to make a garment, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. So the idea today is really to kind of help you again with some tips and things to think of when you source your fabrics. So you will hopefully, when you leave this webinar, you'll be a little bit more comfortable and feel a little bit more at ease when you go on your next search for fabrics. So Lillian, let's start. You ready?
Yes.
Cool. So from your experience, okay, what would you say the most important things that a designer should really know or keep in mind before they go into the process of sourcing fabrics?
Well, you have to have a pretty clear idea of the garment you are designing. So when you understand what kind of product you are designing, you get to know what kind of fabric you're going to use. So you need to understand a bit of the types of fabrics out there, especially between the dialogue of between composition of fibers and the constructions of fabrics, because these two, they can impact on your design. So I brought some samples here to just illustrate a bit. So if you have a simple canvas, which is a very common and simple construction, which is just one warp and one weft, so, and it's 100% cotton, so you cannot move it, you cannot stretch it. It means it's very rigid, which means you cannot do any garment like fitted garments or very close to the body, because it's gonna be not comfortable for the who's going to wear it. And also it means that you cannot do all kinds of design with it. But if the same fabric, like the canvas, had a bit of elastan, which is a fiber that stretches, I have another sample here. So you can get this fabric to stretch, and then you are able to do some fitted clothes or things that more closer to the body, because this kind of detail is very important, because this can tear apart the clothes. If you don't know about this, it can tear apart on the articulations of the clothing. So this is very simple things. So it's not just about what's in fashion or what's pretty hot right now. You need to understand a bit of constructions and the compositions, and then you go for textures, colors, prints, and everything that makes the look of your design. So the first important thing, I think, is the type of fabric you need to use for your designs. The second thing, I think, is quantity. So you need to know how many meters you are going to use for each garment, and this is per garment, and then how many pieces are you going to produce of the same garment. So you need to calculate all that. And also there is a thing that it's very common, that's minimal order quantity. So it means that there are suppliers out there that they work just with 1 meter of fabric and up, but there are suppliers that they just need a minimum quantity. It's very like they produce for large productions, so they cannot sell just 1 meter. So you need to know beforehand if the supplier works with a minimum quantity order or not, because otherwise you're going to waste your time and the supplier's time as well. And the third thing, I think, would be price, the price range. How much are you willing to pay for the fabric? It's very important to know this beforehand, because then you can plan your collection and envision the price point at the end when the garment's already ready to sell at the store. So it's like a thinking backwards. You envision that the price, the cost retail price, and then you need to put a margin of profit right there, and then you can know how much of fabrics you can pay for. So you need to plan this ahead a bit, otherwise you're gonna be lost in the middle of the economic or financial part. So this is pretty much the 3 points.
you know, most of the people, all the people who listen to me or read anything that I ever, you know, published out there, you guys know that one of the first thing that I say is that when you go into design a line, when you start your brand, work with a cost sheet. Because to me, knowing what price you can afford on a fabric is going to be a big details that you'll need to know on before you go and look for trim, for fabrics, things like that. And just to add to that, one thing that many times is missed or not calculated or not thought of by designers, and that happens usually if they order something from overseas. Or for example, if you're a US designer and you're ordering fabrics from Europe, you have to keep in mind that there's going to be shipping costs and there's going to be duties and taxes to it. So, you know, if my budget is to spend $10 per yard and I'm getting fabrics from Europe, just an example, then if the price with the mill is $10 per yard, that means by the time it gets here, it might be 13, 14, depends on the quantities. And it's something to, you know, all of a sudden when the garment takes 2-3 yards, you have another $10 maybe added to your cost. And, you know, as you guys know in the beginning, when your quantities are low and your production is not there yet, price is going to be very challenging to get cost. So you don't want to find yourself finding the right fabric and then, you know, cost is not what you wanted it to be.
Yes, I would like to add as well that if you don't know about fabrics, don't be scared. Because you can always have a sample to show the suppliers and they will be able to help you find what you are looking for. And a great tool to communicate with suppliers that I recommend is to use like mood boards or sketchbooks, because then you can convey the best idea of textures or kind of draping you want. So this can help the supplier help you find the fabrics you want.
Well, very good point. So one of the things is, you know, and again, I see this a lot with designers. They'll go to a show, they'll go to a fabric mill or a fabric agent, and the best way for you to save your time, their time, and really kind of see right away if they have something that you look for and what are the options that, you know, what are the options that will fit what you're looking for, is really to have any sort of swatch. And it could be a garment that you bought, it could be a swatch of fabric that you took from like that you're able to get from a retail fabric store, whatever it is. But if you go to an agent or a mill and you show them quality that you like and that you're looking for, it's going to be a lot easier for them to say, yes, we have something, no, we don't have something. And if they have something, they'll give you things that are, you know, within this direction, instead of you sitting there and start browsing through headers after headers after headers after headers.
Forever.
You know, and usually what happens, by the way, and I see this all the time, after the second agent, you're exhausted. You know, so you go to a trade show and you go through all these headers, you're exhausted. So think about that. If you go to a trade show and you have a fabric that you're looking for, how easier it will be to find the vendors that are going to be right for you. So knowing what you want, I absolutely you know, support what you said, Lillian. Knowing what you need, knowing what you're looking for, having physical samples, understand what are your, you know, what are the box that you need to be in, price-wise, quantities, things like this. It's going to make that process a lot easier.
Yes.
One thing that I forgot to just mention here about the platform, for any of you who are, you know, have some questions along our presentation, if you look below, there is one button that says ask a question. So what I like to do is I like to just go through the presentation and answer questions at the end. We'll leave 15 or 20 minutes at the end of that for you guys to ask questions. So one of the easiest ways, if you have a question, you don't want to forget it, just put it in the ask question. We will look at it at the end. And one other thing, even if you don't have questions, you can look at that. And if you saw a question that somebody else asked and you like it, you just click liking there, and it will, what we'll see there is if there's questions that more than one person is interested in will know it's an important question to answer, just in case we won't make it through the time. Let's go back to our conversation. So we know what we're looking for. Let's go into where would you look for it? What are the avenues that you would recommend to look for fabrics?
Well, after you know what kind of fabric you want and the quantity you need and the price range you can pay, it's time to research about the suppliers that can meet these requirements. So this step can really be overwhelming for many of people I know. I mean, this is very common, especially the beginners, but also for professionals in the industry. They can get really tough times to find the best suppliers or the best products for their design, the materials and fabrics. And if you are in the industry already, you are going to agree with me, we're always running against the clock. It's very tight, the deadlines and everything. So it's very hard to get to know where the novelties are, or where you can get to know to meet new suppliers. So one of the suggestions I have to meet as many suppliers as possible at once is to visit trade shows, because textiles trade shows, they have like suppliers from all over the world. They have different experiences, expertise. They cover different market niche. So you can get a chance to meet many people like with different background that can offer a wide range of products. The only problem is that usually these trade shows, they only last 2 or 3 days. So this is just humanly impossible to cover all the booths. Like you cannot visit all the suppliers, and this is very hard to just go to all over the fair. But also is a place where you can get to get to the conferences, the seminars, and also you get the chance to visit the Trends Forum. But not all people can visit these trade shows, and can be very costly sometimes. You have to plan ahead, because it's not just the cost of the trade show. You have hotels and food and transport to cover costs. So for people who cannot do it, I recommend, obviously, the other way is going digital. So there are many e-commerces right there and marketplaces, and now there are many technology like apps and platforms coming up in the markets that can help us to ease this process. So this is a very nice moment for it, because now we can go digital, like finding the best fabrics and materials.
So, another very simple way to look for fabric that I found very useful is ask, which means, if you have people that you know in the industry, and that goes for anything, ask them if they know where to find this. Your pattern makers sometimes have resources for fabrics. Factory, if you're working with them. Anybody that is in the industry, sometimes you can say, hey, I'm looking for this fabric. Do you know anything about that? You'll be surprised how they will sometimes have just a resource that will help you with this. And of course, like we said, Digifair is one of these platforms that we can show you later how it works, where their mission is really make that whole process a little easier. So, let's say I found the right fabric, okay? What's next? I'm there, I'm in the booth, I found the fabric. What's next? What would you recommend next?
Yeah, there are some questions we need to ask to suppliers. So for instance, it's very important to know if this fabric is going to be in stock, if it's repeatable, like if they have an inventory, or if it's available in a frequency for purchasing. Because sometimes you want to develop a design that's like a bestseller, and you want the same fabric all over again.
Sure.
So you need to make sure the fabric is in stock, or in the opposite, you need to know if the fabric is like limited edition. So you need to guarantee your purchase beforehand, otherwise the stock is going to run out. So this is one really important point. The other thing is you need to know the lead times of production, because if you are waiting for a fabric to be produced, you need to know if it will be in time for your collection. So this comes across the delivery times as well. You need to know about the delivery times when you are getting this fabric to test it, produce it, and then to put it in the store by the time you want it for your client. So it's something very important you need to ask to the supplier. Right. Another thing is about trying to understand a bit, like depends on the country, but depending on the regulations of each country, the important import fees, all these costs of shipping, because this is going to be like attached to the final cost of the whole transaction. And also, I recommend that you ask for a sample, like a fabric sample, so you can test it. You can really make the garment and use it as your customer would use. You can wash it. You can see if the color migrates. You can see if it's something coming off. The sewing is good, or the yarn is coming off. Right. So you really need to test it. And then you are making sure that you have a quality product for production.
No, good points. I'll add a couple of things. As far as the price and the shipping, one of the things that you really want to ask is if the fabric price is FOB or LDP, because FOB, it means that you are going to be responsible for the cost of shipping and customs and duties. If it's LDP, that means that the price that you got from that mill is including shipping and taxes. Now, in 90% of the time, it's going to be FOB, and you're going to be responsible for these things. However, it's good to ask just to make sure. What you said, Lillian, about getting headers. In all honesty, one of the things that I would recommend, especially if you see few qualities and you can't make up your mind, it's going to be hard for you to make up your mind about a fabric at the moment that you see it. So yes. Get a swatch or header, whatever the mill or agent can get you. Then you can look at all of them and make decisions. The next step, as Lillian said, get a sample yard, test the fabric. I would test shrinkage on it. I would abuse the fabric, put it in the machines or whatever you think that's going to happen with this. To really see if it's spilling, if it's falling apart, what it's doing, fading, whatever that is, before you commit to it.
Yes.
Because many times you might look at it and just make a decision based on its look, and that could be a big issue.
Yes, it can.
Yes. Lillian, you're very much into technologies and fabrics, right?
Yes.
You're very interested in that. Is more there like, yeah, we had a conversation about it, and really that's, which by the way, I think this is really where the industry is going. Technology is taking over our lives, let's face it. So obviously with fabrics as well. Are there kind of from the top of your head 2-3 technologies that you can share with us?
You mean related to fabrics?
Yes, yes. Whether it's printing or really just at high level for someone to kind of know.
There are amazing developments going on in the market. I mean, we are living an amazing time.
Yes.
For example, we can take even like climate change issue that's reshaping everything, our environment. So it really is driving innovations towards like protective fabrics or intuitive fabrics and technologies that can take the hassle out of the temperature management. Also, like fabrics for outdoors, snow or training. They have this new generation of fabrics with protective finishings. There is this graphene fabric. It's like the strongest or thinnest or most flexible material there is out there, and it's lightweight and excellent thermal and electronic conductor. So it's like amazing for sports performance and as well for urban clothing nowadays. And another thing that I like is towards like sustainability, because they are conducting a lot of research with bacteria. So there are like recycled polyesters that they are treated in a way that bacteria, it's like they like the taste of it, and then it becomes biodegradable. So like you can imagine how amazing these developments are. So there are many things that I could cite. I mean,
Yeah, no, these are all good things, and in all honesty, that's why I asked for 2 or 3. There's things coming up every day. Anything, just like you said, from temperature control to controlled smell, and eventually there's going to be fabrics that you buy, make, and you can wear them every day, all day long. They'll know what you need. They'll know how you feel. They'll do anything for you. That's what I think it's going to happen eventually one day. So what? Just to learn more about this, I think that one of the things that I liked about Digifair, and by the way, Lillian is the one who's responsible for that, is their blog. It's when I visited the first time, I found a lot of great information about some of the stuff that we're talking about technologies, about new things that comes in. Lillian is very much into finding and gathering and looking into interesting things that happen within the textile industry. So I would highly recommend for you to look at it. In fact, I think we can show you a little bit about Digifair. Would that be okay?
Yes, cool. Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to show, or should I do it?
Could you share the screen and I can go over a bit?
Sure.
We are very concerned in share like really relevant information about fibers, fabrics, what's happening in the industry. And the idea there is to build up a community that discuss about it. So you are very welcome to go ahead and comment or send us feedback, because the idea, we want to not just share, but we want to exchange information. And I really appreciate the fact that people are talking more and more, like from the end consumer to the people who develop the yarns. So it's very well integrated more and more.
So I think you guys now can you see my screen?
Yeah?
Yeah. So this is their website, and let me share actually just here. So you guys, if you look at the bottom, you see a button that says Digifair. You can always go and check it out. But going back to Digifair, this is the platform, and Leland can show you a little bit more about it. But what I wanted to show you, and really, if you scroll down, I believe you'll get to their blog, and I'll show you what I meant. You're really going to find a lot of interesting articles that will help you with the fabric sourcing. So anything from, digital printing, technologies about things, ethical things, sustainability, very cool information to know regardless. Another thing that I like about Digifair is their Pinterest board. You guys put a lot of effort into your Pinterest boards, right?
Yes, the Pinterest is a passion. We try to organize the content there to help people to use the fabrics or understand a bit more about fabrics, what shapes they can apply those fabrics. And we even have a folder there for mood boards. If you want to have a look and see how it's done, if you never tried, you're going to be inspired by that. So some samples of mood boards from people all over the world and sketchbooks. And so it's very nice the way they do it to convey the message of their collection.
Also, you guys have trends, I believe, right? Yeah, so you guys have specific trends that you focus on. For example, you see stripe trends here or some other cool things. Again, it's just putting a lot of this information that will help designers of gathering information and kind of knowing what to do. And
yeah, I don't see the Pinterest screen. Are you sharing it?
Yes, it's not on.
I'm not seeing it.
Hold on. How about now? You guys see it now?
No, I still don't see it.
Do you guys see the screen now? You should be able to. Okay, let me try this again. Share the screen. We're having fun today with technology, huh?
Yes, technologies like this. Suddenly they always leave us like that.
Yeah.
At the end, people, everything is human, okay? So
Exactly.
we need to keep that.
So again, let's go here, and that is your website.
Yes. So about Pinterest as well, we have some galleries. We call fashion galleries, which are markets that are always there. For example, the denim market, the lingerie, tailoring, and we have also the boards of inspirations. When you click on the boards, you can see the whole idea. So there are material mix, there are ideas for shapes that are more structured or fluid. Oh, there is the mood board folder there. So this is a good resource for you guys to start to try out and experiment with these materials, these colors, these objects that can inspire your collection. So I really recommend this tool. It's very useful and give a focus to our designs and also to communicate with the suppliers. And we have a lot of folders there, so you just browse it and get inspired.
And as I said, now you can probably see it. There are folders with trends, italic, for example, wet look, stripes, and they add stuff all the time, which is really, really cool. I enjoy this very much. You want to show us a little bit more about how the platform works for anybody who's interested in, seeing this. So how about, let me see if I can share the screen here. I can show you a little bit more.
I could share my screen as well.
Sure, you do it. It might be easier for you to do this than me.
Let me see. Okay, so here we have, this is the Digifair website. So this is where you go to start your sign up. You can go to the website or you can download the Digifair app if you want from the Apple Store and Play Store. It doesn't matter. And once you click on the sign up button, you're gonna go to this screen here. So you fill up your details like name, company name, email, telephone number, and then you create a password, and then you sign up. And in this step, you're gonna receive an email confirmation. So this is very important point, because otherwise, if you not confirm your email address, you're not going to be able to access the platform. So just find Digifair message on your emails, click on the confirm button there, and then you are all set to start using the platform. Once you log in, you are gonna be asked if you want to buy or sell fabrics. So if you are demanding fabrics, if you want to find fabrics and materials, you go for buying profile. So you click on the buying profile, and then that's the kind of screen you're gonna see. So this is your home page, and then this thing here, you're gonna see the offers, like it's like a timeline of active offers from the suppliers. But the real deal here is to demand fabrics. That's what is different about Digifair. This is an on-demand platform, which means that it's not the suppliers who offers, it's the buyer who asks for it. The buyer has a voice on the platform. So you can create your new demand using this button or this button or this button. There are many places you can click on, but when you create a new demand, you go to this form, and then in here I have filled a bit just to give an example. So for the headline, you can see as the example I gave before about the canvas. So you complete the information of fiber or composition we want, or you can say for what it is, and you can specify if you want sustainable certifications. And then on this drop-down menu, you select what kind of fabric is this, or there are many types of fabrics, like I choose some types here. And then on the description, you can also describe more specifically the thing you are looking for, because this is what makes the best matches with suppliers. So I really recommend that you really think through here and describe your product, what you are looking for, because then you are gonna save a lot of time afterwards when you receive the matches.
So just one question. So
Sure.
you can enter like the type of fabrics you're looking for, color, if you can, be as specific as you can, quantities that we're looking for, prices as well, things like this.
Yes, so you can put the quantity here. Well, if you can even specify the unity and also the price range. So you can I'll go forward so you can see. So here I have specified the quantity I need, and then the price range that I want to pay, the currency that I want to use. And then I can upload up to 5 photos to better show what I'm looking for. So you can even, it's not just photos of fabrics, you can upload pictures from catwalks, lookbooks, even street style if you want. So this is to help the supplier really know what you're looking for.
Nice.
And on the end here, you're gonna see the period of time that your campaign is gonna be active for the suppliers. And then afterwards, you can click publish, and then your campaign is gonna be out for the suppliers and the platform to find the best suppliers. And I just want to add that just keep the record here, gonna talk about this later on. This is where you could use the hashtag Human B. We have a little thing for the end of this webinar. So this is where you should put the code, the Human B hashtag.
So let me maybe make some things clearer, if you don't
Yes.
mind. First of all, you guys should know that the platform is free. It doesn't cost you anything to use it. It's, there's the price that the vendor is going to give you is the price that you're going to pay. Going and looking for fabrics there is for free. You can log in, as Lillian said, look for fabrics or put a demand there. If I'm a vendor and I see your request and I think I have something for you, you'll hear from me. We will chat and see if there's a match there. And you can do all of this. All the interaction can happen on this platform, but it's all for free. And in fact, a couple of things that I found about this platform that I really, really, really like, and I think there are big, big values for you guys, especially if you're a new business. So a couple of things, and Lillian, correct me if I'm wrong or if you want to add to it.
Sure.
One of the things is that the way the process happened. So if let's say I found a fabric now, and I found the vendor, it's a match. I might have gotten the swatch, and I like the swatch. Now I'm going to buy it. I place the order with this vendor through the platform. I pay through the platform, and what they have as well as Digifair, they do have a forward service, meaning you don't have to go to DHL or UPS or look for whoever is going to deliver this for you. They can do this for you, and obviously there's a charge for it, but they can do it for you. And the big and great thing about it, that's what I was about to stress here. Once you pay, your payment is being held by basically Digifair. When you get the fabric, only when you approve and go on the platform and say, hey, I got the fabric, everything is good, I'm good to go, only then the vendor will get paid. Which means you have the security. If for whatever reason you did not get the fabric that you wanted, that you requested, that you needed, you just say, this is not what I ordered. The fabric goes back to the vendor. Your money comes back to you. You're basically eliminating a lot of the risk. The other thing that I wanted to show, and I think this is even a better, well, not better, but really, really great, that really made me want to share this with you, is that, and I never saw this in any other platform, or definitely didn't see this with vendors. It definitely doesn't happen with US when you buy fabrics here. Mm-hmm. Digifair has the ability to spread your payments for fabrics into 2 to 6, between 2 and 6 different payments. So in other words, if you bought, let's say, 50 yards now for production, you have the ability to spread the payments. You don't have to pay for the fabric all up front. And what it gives you some room in your cash flow. Meaning you might pay it as your production happened, and probably by the time you're selling the product, only then you'll be in a place where you paying for the fabric. So think about the advantages that you get with this. In my opinion, these two are really, really valuable points for any designers out there.
Yes, all of to ease the process.
Right.
It's not just about to find the fabrics, but then to ease all the logistics of the process. So
So again, free platform for you. Use it as much as you can, as much as you need. And I think we have a promotion for you as well. So you want to present it, Lilian, or should
I? So coming back to this screen, so we have this promotion for who make a demand on the platform between today, the 23rd of May, and the 30th of May. So if you make the demand within this period of time using this hashtag Human B on the description of the demand that you are seeing here on the screen, you get a free pass to Boaz online course Fashion Business Startup Kit. So to check all the rules of this promotion, please go to our blog website, because there is a post there about with all the rules of this promotion. But it's pretty much like this. You use the hashtag on the description when you are making your demand. And then when you go and click on publish demand, what happens is this. You're gonna see your demand published under this tab here, manage my demands. So it's published. And the other thing that I want to also show you quickly is how it looks like, the chat feature. Because what happens is when you publish your campaign, this is active for suppliers, and they can contact you, or you can also contact suppliers that have some demands. So when you see here this start a chat button on the demands, or on the offers, you can start to connect with the suppliers, and they also can connect with you. So coming back on that screen, this is pretty much how it looks like. It's like a direct message of Instagram or Messenger on Facebook. It's very familiar. And they have another feature here that you can invite people to events that you are going to visit. For example, if you're going to a trade show and you want to let the supplier know that you are going to be there, and then you can ask, are you going to be there? So you invite the supplier for the event, or he can let you know if he's going to be there, and then you can develop the project or the professional relationship further. He can also send you some samples or some ideas of his collections through his button. So it's pretty easy to use because it's very organic. Like it's something that we already know how to use. So yeah.
That's cool. And again, anybody who wants to go and check out the website, if you look at the bottom, you have a button, a green button, visit Digifair. It will take you right there. I also shared on the chat the link to the promo page. So if anybody want to go and check out the promo and see, if how and what to do with it, go ahead and do this. We're just about done, and I sort of have one other question. I think everybody who's going to look for fabrics or starting a new season usually is looking for. Are there any couple, 2 to 3 or whatever the number that you can think of, trends that you would want to share with us about fabrics that happens now?
Yes, there are trends that I think there is a big trend that's going around, and it's about heritage. So we see a lot of inspirations from like countries around the world. So, for example, Japan, where you see these inspirations come from meditative calmness or mixtures of fabrics or artisanal details. As well, you can see inspirations from Greece, which you see a lot of drapings like crepes or pleats or micro pleats. It's like a antique sensuality for fabrics, and for like more decorative or elaborated fabrics or printed fabrics, we see a lot of inspirations coming from Africa and Mexico. So it's all about getting this idea of showing familiarity, heritage. So you can work with any country, actually. And another trend that I am following that I really like is related to consumer behavior that, of course, it impacts directly how you use fabrics. So it's about performance for the everyday. So we see a lot of fabrics coming forward to make your life more practical. So you see a lot of fabrics that has like water resistance, anti-stain properties, anti-crease for traveling. So there are a lot of improvements for this kind of fabrics, and they are coming forward to make this go to the gym, to the party, to the work clothing more practical for
Absolutely.
daily basis.
I think one of the things that you mentioned is that the performance world is, for the last year or two, really moved into everyday clothing. So using fabrics that usually would have been just used for performance and activewear are used now for contemporary line. And the idea is exactly what you said. It's about being comfortable and being able to wear, some or all your clothes throughout your day. So when you get up in the morning and you go to work and you go to the gym and you go to dinner and whatever it is that you do, you don't have to carry with you 3-4 different outfits. And it makes life really easy. It's easy to travel. It's definitely one of the biggest,
And there is a really funny trend as well that I really love, which is the new going out is to stay in. This is coming from the millennials. So they are looking for these loungewear pieces where
Right.
you can have clothes that you can stay at home, very stylish, but you can go out with them. So it's very related to comfort, uh, uh, anti-crease fabrics, or things that you can, be very practical at home as well. So it's
No,
very
that's
interesting.
cool. Um, you know, there's really, like we talked about, there's many things that goes into fabrics and technologies, and you know, it's definitely, I think, when you think about it, at least from my perspective, it's really one of the things that can give an advantage for a smaller brand and new brands. If you can
Yes,
figure out fabrics that will be, or take existing fabrics that you can find and really mold them the way that is going to work for you, and really give them a different look and make something different from them, and use them in a different way. It's really one of the things that can give you advantage over brands that exist there.
exactly.
And printing is one of the other things. Textures, things like this. And by the way, printing now, it's very easy to do. Digital
Yes.
printing, it's accessible to
Yeah,
anybody.
like despite the textile industry still organize the calendars by seasons, we
Uh-huh.
see that people are very free to use the fabrics, and even they have some ideas that they can work on, like a laboratory for their collections, like this little percentage of the collection they can really create and bet on different things. There is the core product right there that you can just work with, really is useful for your consumer, and make them happy, and you understand and get closer to them so you can better understand what they want. So this dialogue is very important, and again, technology is helping us a
Yeah,
lot with that.
absolutely. All right, Lillian, thank you very much. We got
Thank
to the
you.
end of our presentation. I want to see if any of you guys have any questions for us that we would be more than happy to answer, whether it's about fabrics, the platform, anything that comes to mind. Um, Anybody has anything? If you have, then just ask the questions. As I said at the bottom. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Uh, so, you know, just to kind of go back into, just to kind of sum up some of the things that we spoke about today. We talked about what you need to do before you look for fabrics, the things that you should keep in mind, know what you want, understand what you're going to look for. Um, we talked about places and resources or ways for you to look for fabrics. We talked about how to ask or what to ask, what you need to know from the vendor. Because if you found a fabric, there's still a lot of questions that you should have answers for, just to make sure that it's a good fit for you. Get sample, get swatch, not commit yet. Look at your option and make a decisions later. And when you get the fabric, also, when you decide or about the fabric, what you should do with it, and how you, or I should say, before you decide, but when you look into a fabric that you really want to use, test it, look into it, make
Yeah.
garments out of it, wash it. Sometimes, and we had this many times, a fabric that looked great, that draped really good, that we looked at and thought, oh, this would give us the look. But then when it went to sewing, it was very difficult to sew. And that could be an issue in production. And that's something you want to keep in mind, because when you make one sample, yeah, you can make it work. But if now you can make 100 pieces or 1,000 pieces, or whatever number there, and your factory is going to struggle with sewing, it's going to be a much bigger issue than you would think.
Exactly.
And the same thing, think about your customer. Think about what they would do with the garment. I
Always.
always say that. Test the garment. You make a garment, it works well, love it. Whatever instructions you'll need to put on the garment for cleaning and taking care of, use them. Make sure that it actually sustain that. One other thing that I just wanted to add to this, that I think is important when you look for fabric, because a lot of people, and not, if they're not in the industry, they're not familiar with this as much. Many times a designer will come and say, hey, I'm looking for fabric with this content. Now, I want to make something very clear. Content on its own is not enough information for a fabric vendor or anybody else who needs to help you with the fabric to know what fabrics you want. Because content is just one point of what makes a fabric. Weight will make a fabric. How it's weaved or knitted will affect how the fabric will stretch or drape. So really, that's really what why I really stress the point of getting actual swatches to show will make a big difference in your sourcing fabrics experience. We do have one question from Nancy, and she's asking how much lead response time is typical to plan for after you enter your demand. So I think what she means is once they go on the platform and they put a question or looking for fabric, basically, how long they should sort of keep in mind to expect until they hear from vendors, if there is any number like that.
Well, yeah,
I think that it's probably individual for every request, but I wonder if there is an answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, it can vary, but as more specific you are on your description, the better, because then the platform can, find best matches very fast for you. So it avoids the back and forth, like, this is not what I want, this is not what I was looking for. So as more specific you are, you get the best matches very fast. And it depends also on the duration of the demand. So you can, run that demand for that period of time, and then you can count within that period, you're gonna get many matches. So then you can decide what's best for you. So yeah, we really recommend to be very specific on the description.
And one of the things that I just wanted to add is just really ask you so people will understand about your platform. Vendors from all around the world can be part of your
Yes.
your platform, right?
Yes.
So I might find a vendor in somewhere in the Middle East, somewhere in Europe, somewhere else in the US. So there's really it can come from different places, which really kind of extend what you'll be able to do as a designer. Let's say in the US, you won't be able to reach out to all these places. Now you have a platform that puts your request in front of many vendors in different places, which again,
Yes.
I like very much.
Yes. I would like to add something, because if you are too worried about, like, how can I pay for the shipping cost? It's going to be very expensive or something like that. So you can think very local as well, because sometimes we don't really know the supplier just close to us. So you can specify on your demand what kind of product, and as well what kind of region you want to look at. So the platform can just bring things that will help you lower the costs if this is something an issue for you. And this is also a very huge trend towards sustainability, to act local. So this is something that you can use in your favor for your collections, as well if you want to work with dead stock, because this is another major trend that maybe there are some few meters in stock somewhere that people are not going to sell it, but this is like precious fabrics that you can make a limited edition, very exclusive. So you can really go for it and try to find where these stocks are.
I do have a couple of other questions just as you're talking about it. So just to make it clear, let's say I'm in the US, I can, when I put the request on your platform, I can specify that I'm only looking for vendors in the US, right? That's what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one thing that I'm wondering on, and really it might or might not be there or doable or not, So if I put a request and I got a vendor contact me and he or she says, hey, we have this fabric, this is how many yards we have, and this is the price. Can I negotiate with them on the platform?
Yes, yes. On the chat, you can start right away to negotiate with them. So since we don't actually sell on the platform is to match the people, and then you can start negotiating there. And it's a very safe environment, so you can keep track of all negotiations in the chat, organize them by supplier. So no more countless emails and headaches about it, because some of you may know that this can also be very overwhelming sometimes to organize your emails and try to track and make all the follow-ups to the suppliers. So this is a safe space that you can just start and keep the record with everything that you are doing on the platform.
So all my chat with every vendor is right there. So if I need to go back into my exchange with them, or things that they said or things that I said, I don't have to go and look for their emails and figure out who that person is and remember their name and stuff like that. I just go into the platform, log in, and I have all this history of chat. We have another question from Kate, but I'm not sure I understand your question. She's asking what you're saying about the experiences of others who have used the fabric. That info is shared or available to look at. I'm not sure what you refer to, Kate. So if you don't mind, if you want to clear this up for us, that'll be great. We'll be happy to answer that. We do have another question now for Vivian, who's asking, where is Digifair based?
It's based in Israel, but we have offices in Brazil, in Spain, in UK, and soon in United States. So yeah, it's a global company.
So just like any other virtual company, where you guys operating from is not necessarily where Fabrics is going to come.
No. Yeah, we have many partners on this, partners in crime. So we have a very well-structured team that is helping to cover across the globe. So it's very important, the participation of the users and to give the feedbacks, because the platform is for you. It's only for you.
Right.
So use it, try it, experiment it, comment it. So we are here to help.
It's awesome. And just again, the two things that really stood out for me when I look at the platform is the fact that if you use them to ship the product for you or the fabric to you, you have this extra level of security that you will get the fabric that you need. Otherwise, you're not paying. And the other part is, you have an option to pay instead of everything right there in the beginning, to spread your payment, which really gives you a lot of room in your cash flow. Yes. I just wanted to mention this because it's really great. Outside of the fact that now you're sitting in front an international list of fabric vendors, you put requests out there and get vendors from all around the world.
It's very easy. It's like just posting on Instagram. So you can post your fabric and just wait for the best matches.
It's awesome. Cool. Okay, Kate is just explaining her question. So she's asking, when you were talking about an example of the sample sews up well, but when it came to production, the fabric didn't work out as well. Okay, so let me clear that. The example that I said is not that it's sewn well in samples and didn't work in production. That is not what I said. What I did say is that in order for you to eliminate issues in production, what you want to do is when you get the sample yards and you make the sample, this is going to be where you're testing the fabric before you commit to it.
Yes.
So if it doesn't sew in the sample, then if it doesn't sew well in the sample, then, you might decide, this is not a fabric for me. So it's not that it worked well in the sample, didn't work in production. What I meant is that in that sample stage, test the fabric. Do anything that I usually say, abuse the fabric. See what you come up with. In all honesty, we tell our designers, even if it says dry clean or the fabric's supposed to be dry clean, we say, hey, take it and put it in the washer and see what happens, because you never know what your customer is going to do. And, at least all the options with this fabric. So I always recommend to test the fabric, make a sample out of it, see how it drapes, see how it sews, see how it's cut, see how it holds. And only when you're comfortable with this, commit to production. Hopefully that answers the question. I think these are all the questions that we had. If anybody had any questions, this is your last chance. Otherwise, we're going to end the webinar now. I hope that it was useful for you guys. Again, just to remind you about the promo, if you will go and put a request, sign up and put a request through Digifair for Fabric, and you enter the hashtag Human B, you'll get my fashion business startup kit course for free. By the way, for anybody who doesn't know what it is, it's a course that will let you evaluate your business and give you all the tools and the step to start a fashion brand. So, everything that you need to know before going into it, or the things that really will be helpful for you to figure out, questions that you should answer, calculations that you should do about your financial plan, how to plan, the process that you will go to, all of these things, including worksheet, including my ebook, all of this includes there. And it's a really short course, and it's really based on a program that I do as a consulting program. I find it really useful. It takes all the information that you need to know about starting this, that you should keep in mind, into one good course. So, you can get it for free. Simply go on Digifair. The button is here. It's digifair.com. Place your request for fabric and put the hashtag Human B, and you'll get that. I think we don't have any more questions. Lillian, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for being with us. It was a pleasure. And
Awesome.
if someone wants to get in touch, just hit us. You can I leave an email here, Boaz?
Sure. So what you can leave your email right here on the chat if you want.
Okay.
Just for those of you who are not familiar, you will get the recordings for this. So if you missed anything or need anything else, you'll be able to do that. And I will include some other information about the promo, their contact information, the website link, and the email with the recording. So if you thought you missed something, you did it. That's it. I hope it was useful and beneficial for all of you. Good luck with your business. I hope to see you guys again here. For those of you in the US, have a great Memorial Day weekend, and I will see you next month.
Hope
Bye,
to see you
Lillian.
soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.